and get these objectives. So they're definitely ambitious. And we said, anything can happen in Q2. This race can close in the next month, can close tomorrow, because there's really no limit in how much you can invest. So when we define the OKRs from a product standpoint, we really made them very ambitious because we need we want to grow, and we want product to do that as well. So before I jump into the marketing, what's going on in marketing, because there's a lot of cool things going on. Isaac, anything you want to add on the product side, and a little bit of the vision of where we're heading really the rest of the year?
Well, I mean, I think, I actually had a user reach out to me, and one of the first questions that they asked me was about their engagement. Like, what is Fanbase going to do differently than what's being done on other platforms? And I think engagement is probably something that is kind of the most important thing, I think, alongside monetization for content creators, is actually content being seen by people. And so I think the focus this year is definitely to open up the app, right? It's to kind of like widen the pipeline of views and visibility for engagement for the content on the platform. And so that is part of what we're doing with Live and this major feed refactor, which I feel like we've been talking about for like 6 months now. But that's all we've been talking about it a long time. But I mean, we've known, what it is? It's something that we know we would have to do. It's just when we would have time to do it, because it's a big segment of development, so it takes us away from other things, and so it slows us down in some areas. But once it's done, we'll be able to do a lot more with the feed, and so that'll improve engagement. And so I'm excited about that, because I think people want to be seen with content. I think people don't want their views and their content suppressed, and these algorithms playing with the stuff that they post and work so hard to post. And so I'm looking forward to that, the most, because I mean, right now people are still getting thousands and thousands of views on their posts, but now we want to get into the hundreds of thousands and millions of views and tens of millions of views on content. And so the more that stuff's available on web and inside the app, it's going to do that. So that's what part of this raise is about from the product side. And then I think Ramiro spoke briefly about live content, IRL, in real life content is very, very popular nowadays. We were having a conversation today just talking about, I think that video and audio are going to lead this next kind of phase of what social media is. I know everybody loves photos, and photos will always be a part of Fanbase. And there's actually some stuff that we're going to do with photos that no other platform is doing, by the way, as well. But that's what I'm excited from on the product side, is getting your content seen more. And I think it's going to attract a lot more users to the platform that are having issues on other platforms with being suppressed and shadow banned and so forth.
Definitely, you hit it on the nail. All right, let's. I'm going to take a pause and see if they have any questions in the chat room, and then I'll go back into marketing and see what's going on there. Let me see. I'm looking to when will we see a return? That was one of the questions. I think Isaac, we can maybe talk a little bit about the exit strategies.
Where'd you see that question at? Where's that at?
In the chat room at the beginning.
Okay.
Tomorrow. Yep.
Okay. Oh, so okay. When will we see a return? Oh, okay. Cool. Z Music. So I'm gonna explain. I kind of need to get in a little bit more detail about returns on investments. So when you invest in the way that we're allowing people to invest in Fanbase, it is no different as if everybody in this room was an accredited investor. So pre-2015, the only people that can invest in startups like Fanbase were rich people. I'm going to use those words. I'm not going to get to the whole credit thing. So an accredited investor is a short version for someone that's already rich. And there are sometimes pretty hefty minimums for these rich people to get into $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, $250,000 to invest in a startup. Something like a startup like Fanbase or a Facebook or whatever these platforms are, right? So Barack Obama and Joe Biden signed into law the Jobs Act, which wiped out the accredited investor rule. So now not only rich people can invest in early stage startups, but anybody can. So with that being said, the opportunity that exists for everyone on the app or anywhere, that can invest in Fanbase around the world, you guys have a chance to have equity in a platform that is pre-public. So a pre-public company is like when you see platforms like Apple that have existed. At some point, they were a private company. At some point, Facebook was a private company. At some point, Uber was a private company. And then they became publicly traded companies. The real windfall in return on an investment is when you're investing in a company pre-IPO. So to kind of further that this conversation and say more is that there are four eventualities for Fanbase. I'm very candid about this when you're investing in Fanbase. One, Fanbase will go out of business. I talk about that all the time. We'll raise money, we'll do the best job we can, and it won't work and we go out of business. There are no plans for us to do that. That's not going to happen. I'm not accepting that. Boom, right. Good old X. Great emoji, right? Okay, the other three are what are called liquidity events. And so a liquidity event is when the people that are attached to the company, that are investors in the company, see a return on the investment. So that's the only time that you will see a return on your investment. So Fanbase doesn't pay dividends. It's not like you're investing in a post-IPO company. So with that being said, a merger, someone acquires Fanbase or Fanbase decides to go IPO and go public on the stock market, then users can sell their shares at the moment of the platform going public and cash out, as people say. So I'm going to sell my stock and get out of Fanbase the moment it hits the stock market, because the stock could go up, the stock could go down, and then once you go public, 10, 15 years from now, Fanbase's value could be 10x what it was when we first started. The stock could start out as $5 a share, and it can get all the way up to thousands of dollars a share. So you make that decision at that point. But that's when you will see a return on your investment. And so the risk is higher, but the reward is greater. And also that the risk is also lower in the sense of saying the minimum that you have to invest, that you can invest, is $399. I'm not saying that $399 is not a lot of money, but I know that in many instances, people are spending $399 on things that they'll never see again, on champagne and all kinds of stuff, vacations, trips, flights, baseball games, whatever, just experiential things, but actually something that you can actually own and have equity in, which is extremely important. And I would never tell anybody what to do with their money, but for sure, I think that as the general public gets more savvy and educated on investing, opportunities like this will become more frequently available and be opportunities for people to build wealth, as opposed to a post-IPO company that, you put your company in, you put your money in stocks, and then over a 20-year period, 30-year period, your stock definitely increases and you'll see a return. So that's when you'll see a return on investment. Now, how fast Fanbase gets to the point of a liquidity event, that's up to the universe, I say. Well, we're going to work hard, but there's nothing stopping Fanbase from really, soaring to heights of, multi-billion-dollar valuations in short amounts of time, mind you, given the velocity in which users can join the platform. So, but to be perfectly clear, usually liquidity events in corporations are like 9 or 10. They're long-term investments that you sit on, and then you watch the company scale and grow, and then someone wants to acquire it.
That was a 10 out of 10. But I want to say something that you said at the end. You watch the company grow. What's the great thing about this opportunity, guys, is that you don't have to only watch. You can actually participate of growth by just being a user and actually sharing and helping grow the platform too. That's not a chance that you get in a lot of places. A lot of times you invest and you do have to sit down and watch. There's really not a lot more that you can do. And in this case, you can. So I appreciate you sharing that. That was an amazing answer to the question, Isaac. That gave a lot of insight on the liquidity events. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right. I see some people are already getting a little bit anxious, and they're like, when and what will be the next update? I will say we do our development sprints are 2-week sprints, which means you're guaranteed, well, except if the stores don't play nicely with us, which once in a while it happens, you will get one update every 2 weeks. We're trying to do big impact, small increments constantly. So a lot of times you might see releases earlier than 2 weeks, but for sure you're going to get new updates every 2 weeks. So the new update that is coming up is on next Wednesday. Again, assuming both stores play nice with us and they update everything. I will let you know that we have an actual pretty cool update. I know some of you have migrated some of your content, if not all of your content, from TikTok and Instagram. We've been working very, very hard to improve our migration tool. And next week, we're going to have a release that will make the migration tool even more efficient, quicker. So for those that have been frustrated about migrating your content over starting next week, that's going to change. So all I can say is that next week we have an updated and a new version of the migration tool. If you haven't migrated yet your content from TikTok and Instagram, you should try it out. And, you know, I can guarantee you that if you're someone that haven't made any money on those platforms, when you come to Fanbase just about migrating, you're going to start making money. So that's definitely one of the things that are coming up.
Let me jump in and say too. Also, one of the pain points for users starting new social apps is the daunting task of having to repost all your content from feed-based platforms. So something like a TikTok, something like a Facebook, something like an Instagram, but primarily Instagram and TikTok, because video and photo are such a big part of Fanbase. I wanted to make it easy for people to feel like, okay, I'm not starting here with anything. So the brilliant team at Fanbase came up with this migration tool that allows you to copy all of your pre-existing content from either TikTok or Instagram and import it over to Fanbase. It still stays over on TikTok or Instagram, but it copies the captions, it copies your content, and it copies your bio and your profile photo and brings all of that over to Fanbase. And I think that's cool because now you're just not sitting there with an empty profile picture. For all of you that are in the audience right now that kind of have that gray F with the Fanbase icon in it, you guys can import your content from other socials like Instagram and TikTok over to Fanbase, up to 2,000 posts, mind you, and bring that over to the platform, and that's pretty dope. So yeah. I think that's extremely important.
And to put the cherry on top, if you're a current or potential investor and you're wondering, oh, that's really cool, you guys should patent that. Well, it's patent pending. It's just one of the 10 claims that we have patent pending because, you know, even though we came with a lot of new functionality, we also did our due diligence and tried to protect our IP. And that's something that we want to continue doing even more so with this race, which is we're going to come up with a lot of really good functionalities that will help creators come into Fanbase. I want to make sure we protect that IP as well. So just wanted to add that.
I want to say something real quick too with that. I want to say that between Ramiro and myself, I feel like we do a really good job of trying to see around corners or down the road. So a lot of the things that we do, we keep in mind that we either try to protect the idea, be the first to the market or be forward thinking. So when we build these things, because when we mention the migration tool, no one's ever heard of anything like that. No one's heard like, oh my God, I've never heard of an app allowing you to take all your stuff off one app and bring it to another app. And so it's about the great ideas that the team comes up with over at Fanbase and what allows us to do that. And then there's some value to that we can protect those ideas. And that's also what this race is about. The fact that we're raising money to be able to protect our ideas and keep moving forward and bring other things to social media that we can. And that's what excites me about this whole process, because we see the gaps, we see the things that other platforms aren't doing, and we're just excited to be able to build those things because it makes the conversation, it makes the excitement, it makes everything a lot more fun about what's going on over at Fanbase.
Definitely. All right, I'm going to go through some other, a few more questions for feedback, and then we'll jump into some of the marketing updates. Sorry, I was looking. There's a lot of going on in the chat room. I love how engaging the chat room is always. Let me see. So this is an interesting one. Someone asked, what's a good way to grow my following on my Fanbase page? How can you grow inside Fanbase? Or if you have to give a recommendation, Isaac, where would you start and what would that be?
Well, the first thing I would do is migrate my content, because a lot of times people just don't, it lets somebody know that you're a real person. Like, you exist. There's some personality. There's content. There's something to engage with. It gives an idea about who you are as a person and stuff like that. So a lot of times people get on platforms and wonder why they're not scaling or they're not growing and seeing a lot of growth on their platform. Well, no one kind of really knows about you. You learn about people through their profile. I mean, there's some amazing content creators on here that post content that I know that like to travel or foodies or things like that, and so that creates engagement. Secondly, I think commenting on posts and actually using audio are two other ways. Like, audio is a great real-time way to scale. Now, again, here's what I say about audio, though. Audio is the best way to make a first impression, because you never know who's in the room. You never know who's listening. You never know who's going on. So I would always say treat audio, have fun, but also understand that this is a public forum. Anybody can listen to these rooms on the web or on the app, unless you make private rooms or exclusive rooms that people have to subscribe to. So this is a great way to connect with people, let people know about your personality, converse, talk about topics. If you guys want to, we've had a couple relationships come off of Fanbase. I think we had a couple babies come off this app, which I think is cool. Yeah. It's really weird though. It's like the fact that I met my wife on this app, or we got a baby out of here. I'm like, wow, like that. I never thought about it like that, but that's what social media does. It gives you the opportunity for people to connect and stuff like that. So it's really cool that Fanbase is help bring people together in that way as well. So I mean, the more you participate in social media, the more you get out. If you don't put anything into social media, you don't get anything out of it. I know that it seems like when you throw content up on TikTok, and people are getting millions and millions of views, a lot of times that's the way for the app to kind of lure you in, to kind of create the idea that, oh my God, I get so much more visibility over here than other platforms. But really, it's just a marketing strategy to get you involved into the platform, and then once they have you, they'll tank your engagement, and you'll be fighting to get back into that algorithm. And I don't want to play those games with anybody over here. So just tap in.
Definitely. Awesome. All right. Well, let's take a break from questions and comments, and let's talk a little bit about, or continue talking, what's going on at Fanbase. I already talked about the product, what are we doing for Q2, how are we planning things, and what direction we're heading. Obviously, because Fanbase is a platform, we're a product-based company. We also have our amazing marketing team that is always trying to support and drive growth into the platform, right? So it's hard to talk about one thing separate from the other one. So just like product did their OKRs, the marketing team did also their OKRs, and we set ourselves very ambitious goals of how can we grow the app from a communicational marketing perspective, but also from the product perspective, because decisions are not always driven by just a product perspective. Hey, we want to have this great technology or this great increment, but rather, what are the needs? What are creators wanting to have? And that a lot of times comes through our marketing pipelines as well. So first things first, I want to let you know that we are obviously continue doing a lot of strategic partnerships out there. One of our large partnerships that we were able to achieve in Q1 was partnering with Propel, which is Apple's nonprofit program. They actually work with every single HBCU in the country. So we partner with them, and we're working with 5 amazing students that are working as interns in Fanbase. And with them, we are working on putting together different challenges. One of the challenges that are going on right now is Drip Your HBCU. You're probably going to see it on our socials. You might see it along the Fanbase content. And the idea is to continue driving these challenges and these partnerships with the different HBCUs schools around the country. We're super excited. This is our first full week of the challenge. We're seeing great participation. If you want to find out more, you can go to fanbase.app/drip-your-HBCU. I'm sure Kyle will probably put it on the chat room as well. And you can find out more. We actually have a lot of brands interested in participating in the challenge. And this allows us also to start doing brand partnerships as well. There's a lot of ways that brands can actually partner with Fanbase through different verticals. And we're starting to have a lot of big conversations. We actually are proud to announce that we partner with MAC Cosmetics as well. I'm sure all of you know them. And our idea is to continue doing these brand partnerships strategically as we use Fanbase as a tool to not only do brand awareness, but also match creators with brands as well. So the marketing team is full steam on that. At the same time, one of our promises in Q1 was getting closer to content creators. So we built a content relationship team, content creator relationship team, and we brought a content relationship manager as well. And she's been great into bringing new content creators into Fanbase, and it's another pipeline for us to understand what's working, what's not working, and also what do creators want to see so they can create more and better content. So the marketing team is also focused on supporting that. So you might see new content creators joining Fanbase from different industries. We actually just finished another partnership with the union, and there's a lot of fitness content creators that are going to start joining the platform as well. So again, marketing is full steam on driving content creation and improving the platform through their feedback as well. Okay. And of course, there's many other things. You're going to see some other campaigns and challenges that's going to happen in Q2. Like I said, we set the bar high for the entire company, but the marketing team is going to definitely be driving a lot of things. And of course, they'll help communicate some of the amazing increments that we're pushing from product as well.
Hey,
right?
Let me add a little bit about the union too, because I don't think people. So for those of you that don't know what the Union Fit Hub is, the Union Fit Hub is a gym in Atlanta, Georgia, that is on the Beltline. For those that live in Atlanta, Georgia, it's on the Beltline, and it is a creator-focused gym. So they actually, anybody can join the gym to work out, but it also focuses on the ability for fitness content creators to use that gym as a place to shoot content, make content, be creative. And so it made perfect sense for Fanbase to partner with the union because fitness is definitely a vertical that people are really getting into with regard to social media and going beyond physical workouts, but virtual workouts and being able to do things at home, in your living room, places like that. So the Union Fit Hub will serve as the epicenter of fitness on Fanbase. That means that fitness content creators will be joining the platform. They will be creating content as well, along with the union. So your favorite, anybody that, you might want to join up with and work with as a fitness creator or somebody you already know. I'm pretty sure there's some pretty familiar faces that are coming with regard to fitness into Fanbase, and I'm excited about that because the fitness community is one of the larger communities that are emerging on social media, especially by way of growth and monetization. People are a lot more health conscious. That means things like nutrition, mental health, wellness, all those things are coming. So you can expect audio rooms, short form content, long form content, live content, classes, challenges, all of those things. So we were excited to announce that partnership with Timing Math and the union, and so be on the lookout for that because I think I'm gonna get my sexy on too, and slim down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Get my sexy on. So I'm in my sexy man era.
You didn't answer the question that I asked the other day. How much can you bench, Isaac?
Oh yeah. You know what? I haven't. I don't know, man. I don't. You know what? I'm so far I don't know. I'm pretty sure I can bench. I'm stronger than I think I am. So
I know you are. I know you are.
I wonder how much Kyle can bench. Matter of fact, Kyle, how much can you bench? Kyle, throw how much you can bench in the chat, because Kyle looked like he'll shove somebody completely,
Kyle is our growth marketer. For those that don't know, he's a former football player as well. So he's a guy you don't want to mess around with. But 385.
All right, Kyle.
Kidding me?
380. That's dope.
Man, good for you.
385 is that's heavy right there. That's a lot.
You know what we should do? We should probably do some content with the union and get the entire Fanbase team to go and work out and show how much.
Oh, that'll be hilarious. Oh, of course, absolutely. That'll be fun.
All right. Let's look and see if we have any other questions on Fanbase, this reggae race that we have ongoing. How are we going to be using the money? Hopefully, you guys are seeing a little bit of the plan and the vision and the idea behind why are we doing a reggae race. And like I said, even though the race is growing and it's going and we want to close it as soon as possible, we are also hyper focused on growing the platform. So we have, we're working on every angle, and we're hoping that with this race we're going to be able to, to keep watering. I always say the same thing, but keep watering so the plant can keep growing, because I think we've identified, we've tested, and we've proven a lot of the concepts, and we're ready to grow this exponentially. All right, I can see people talking about Kyle benching. Go on, Kyle. You got to prove it now.
But you see how much engagement that got. Just I can pinch this. Like, people are competitive. I see the competitive. I want to see what people can bench and run and all that kind of stuff. So we'll have challenges with the union and stuff like that.
So I saw some comments about the availability of Fanbase on different devices as well. I want to say that one of the cool things that now I'm going to bring another topic, Isaac, that is going to drive engagement. We're going to talk about Apple, and then we're going to have all the Android people jumping and saying Android is better. That always happens. But I want to say that obviously we are available on iOS, Android, and web as well. But on iOS, something that Apple has done that is pretty cool is that they have standardized the versioning of the apps, which means that, for example, if you have a MacBook Pro M1 or above, you can actually use Fanbase, the app itself, on your computer. So if you go to the App Store on your MacBook, you can find us and use it. In fact, Isaac, correct me, you were also able to use it on the Vision Pro, right?
That was the only, Fanbase was the only social media app I could find on Apple Vision Pro. Like, I think all the other apps are like, the Facebooks are not putting it up there and stuff like that. So it was really cool to be able to use Fanbase like virtually in my living room and just listen to the audio rooms and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Yeah,
correct. And we also have it on iPad. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some nuances between all these different devices, some things that might not work the same in one and the other one. The reality is, because we are still a small, nimble team, we're obviously focused on iOS, Android, mobile, but in the future, I don't discard, doing different things for different devices. But I just wanted to mention that because I saw some people asking about if it was available on iPad and MacBook, but I thought about responding to that. Let me see. There's so many things going on in the chat room. I'm trying to see if there's any questions. Look at it, DJ Swag. Interesting. So, will there ever be a hallway for the website? Hallway is basically the listing for the audio rooms on the website. So, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. You know me. I'll never give a straight answer. But no, I will say that in Q2, we want to give more visibility to audio. I did mention that, we have audio on web. So right now we have actually a lot of people that are listening on the web. So if you go to fanbase.app/audio/invest-now, you will be able to listen to this conversation without having to log in, which is great. Now, the only way currently that you can find these conversations is if someone shares them, right? We want to change that in Q2, and we want to make that available. So there's going to be a way where you're going to be able to access public rooms. Of course, we have private and exclusive. That's a different story. But public audio rooms on web without having to wait for a link. Basically, you can go in, see what's going on in Fanbase, and start listening right away. So we're definitely going to make it easier to give you. And again, it goes back to what Isaac said. We're not doing it just to do it. We're doing it because we want to give you more exposure to your conversation. Your conversation is content. So we want to get more eyes and more ears into those conversations, and that's what we're going to be doing in Q2. So hopefully that answers your question, DJ Swag. You always bring up some good points.
Yeah, I think that. Okay. I think audio on web is. Audio on web is already there, but public hallway for sure. I think would be interesting. So I'm not gonna speak for Ramiro. I would just, it's in the ether though. Put it like that. Well, it's out there. So
yeah, I see. Kingdo says, "Can we share hyperlinks?" Yeah, you can share pretty much everything as far as content inside Fanbase. In this audio room. If you go down below, you're going to see a way that you can share. You're going to see the arrow button where you can share the audio room anywhere. And the same for, any type of content, flicks, traditional image, video, Fanbase Plus, even live, and so on. So sharing for us is carrying more than ever because we want to drive you sharing Fanbase so you bring more people. So, all right. Can you have Fanbase Live with someone on with you? So we are, I mentioned that we're finishing a live functionality. We're actually going to be bringing a live feed. So when you go live, it's not going to depend only on you having followers so they can be alerted. Actually, you're going to have an actual feed where anyone can see your lives as well. And as part of that roadmap, now that we've done that and we kind of refactored the live functionality, we will be able to bring new increments such as multi-live and beyond. So it's going to come this year for sure. We don't have that quite yet, the multi-live. But it's coming.
It's coming, though. Yeah, it's coming.
Mm-hmm. Isaac, I'll let you answer this one. Someone asked, what is Fanbase Plus?
Oh, okay. So Fanbase Plus is our long-form video platform. So that means if you were to think of what YouTube is, or eventually what Twitch is, or even eventually what Netflix is, that is Fanbase Plus. So that's 16 by 9, high quality video that you would post on YouTube or you would watch on Netflix, or so you can post up to 2 hours worth of content and make it free for people to view, or put that content behind a paywall. So it's a great way to kind of monetize, because in functionality perspective, every single person with a Fanbase account is their own Netflix. You have the ability to put content behind paywalls. I always try to demystify what people think subscription-based content is. People think subscription-based content, you think of Spotify, you think of Netflix. Subscription-based content is anything that's put behind a paywall. So every single person on this platform has the ability to put content behind a paywall and people to pay to see that content. But I also like to demystify the fact that some people may think that people only want to see high quality movies, right? Or they only want to listen to songs. That's not true. Some people want to subscribe to listen to conversations, subscribe to look at photos, subscribe to look at shorter videos, subscribe to look at other types of tutorials and stuff like that. So with Fanbase Plus, we just wanted to provide that long form, vivid experience that you can watch on a phone, on your laptop or your desktop computer, and eventually that Fanbase Plus will evolve into something that is available on Apple TV, Fire Stick, Roku, so on and so forth. And that's when you're really getting into video demand, live streaming pay-per-view events, XYZ. So I'm excited about that too, because there's some things that we want to be able to do actually coming up in the fall with one of our partners that we're working on too.
Yep. Definitely. I'm seeing some users that are mentioning that they invested earlier this month, and some of you have invested several times in first round open. So I want to take the time to say thank you so much for believing in us, believing in Fanbase. We'll definitely won't disappoint, and we're excited about the future. And we're definitely gonna be growing Fanbase. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I did see a question about some privacy settings, if we're going to be working on improvements, and the answer is yes. Again, it's not really an excuse. It's more just to people understand the background of things. So we are a platform that has 6 different verticals. There are 6 ecosystems, worlds by their own, which has their nuances as well. So unlike other platforms, when you have to work on a blog functionality, on a privacy setting, you don't have to just think and map out one functionality, one vertical. You got to do it across 6 verticals that users interact completely differently. You have audio versus flicks, right? So there's some complexity. We definitely have the entire roadmap laid out. So we're hoping that one of the things we'll do with this money is to speed up development. And again, speed up development doesn't always mean just throwing people at the team, but we're going to be speeding it up so we can start doing a lot of catch-up increments, including some of like improving the blocking functionality, giving you more privacy tools as well. Because I know that even though a lot of you want to get views, some of you want to be more, precise on what kind of views you want to have and so on. So we're definitely going to be working on that, and we're hoping that this race is going to allow us to speed up and get to those increments. Okay. All right. I'm saying, will the flicks finally show up on our front page tab on the profile? Oh, that's interesting. So I know, Isaac, you've been asking about that, but we're actually in Q2 working on profile improvement. So I don't discard that small things such as that, as tab visibilities might make it into the quarter. So.
Yeah, it's something we want to definitely do. I mean, I think Flip right now, the only content that is in that far left tab on your profile are just photos and videos, and Fanbase Plus videos, I think, are over there as well. If they're not, I don't want to make that mistake, but I know that we want to make sure that everything is on that far left profile tab, and then things that are segmented. So like exclusive content, fan-based content, and Flicks content have their own tabs, but we want to make sure that if you wanted to see everything is always in that one section of some person's profile that you can take a look at, and that's part of that.
So Isaac, knowing that we have 9 minutes, there's one question that I think will be perfect for us to start wrapping up. Mm-hmm. How can I invest again? Someone asked.
So yeah, so you can go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Fanbase's current valuation is $160 million. We are raising $17 million at that valuation for $665 a share for the minimum of $399 to invest, which is 60 shares of Fanbase stock. You will be an equity shareholder in Fanbase. You will take this journey with us as a user and an owner, which is unheard of in social. Not very many people can say that they use and own Instagram or use and own TikTok. And I think that's important because it gives the added edge for you to also be an ambassador to the platform, to bring people to the app that actually increases the value of the platform. And so, a lot of people don't get to own part of these social apps that wind on going, being multi-billion-dollar, even in some cases trillion-dollar companies over a period of time. I mean, it took Facebook 20 years to go from where it is to a $2.2 trillion company, but that's still pretty amazing that if I'm, someone that can see that type of growth with a startup, and I think Facebook is always an outlier, but I'm not even thinking about trillions of dollars of value. I'm just thinking about billions of dollars of value. In those companies, there are several companies that are worth billions of dollars, and I think Fanbase is absolutely on course to do so.
Awesome. All right. Well, we have a few more minutes. Let's see if there's any other questions, comments that you want to ask around. Again,
I want to know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to know by show of hands, is there anybody in the audience that is not a Fanbase investor? There's a hand raise icon on the bottom of the page, kind of at the bottom of the screen. If you haven't invested in Fanbase, tap that icon and raise your hand. I want to see if anybody isn't a Fanbase investor. Okay, I see. MDs is not a Fanbase investor, or Deezer. I'm sorry, Deezer. Let me see. Let's see if Deezer wants to come up and talk about that or something, or anybody wants to have a conversation about that. Yeah, I see Marvin. Let's see. I'm going to invite some of you up. Let's see here, because I think also I think we can. Let me see. Deezer, hello. Oh, I don't know if you have your mic turned on. If you can't speak, go to the settings in the app and then activate your microphone. So go to settings inside your phone and then allow Fanbase to use your microphone. Hello, Marvin. You good? You're there.
I'm good. I'm good.
What's happening?
How are you?
I'm good.
What time is it here? Afternoon in LA.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about Fanbase, trying to figure it out, what buttons to push and how to bring certain data over. I'm financially strapped right now, so not in a position to be an investor.
Okay.
Except to the point that I buy some loves, $10 or $15, and spread it around and tell everybody about it, because it's a great site and I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Well, yeah. I mean, something that I can say is there are dozens of investors that have used the platform and made enough money to actually invest in Fanbase. That's something too. So there's actually, people have actually made enough money on using Fanbase to go back and actually buy shares in Fanbase. So that's something to also consider too, is use this as a way to create the opportunity to monetize and make some money and then come back and invest in the platform. But listen, I mean, your investment of time and participation is appreciated, and I think that's important too, because you're just bringing more attention to what we're doing.
Yes, thank you for bringing it forth.
No problem. Thank you very much, Marvin.
Isaac, I was going to say, it also happens the other way. We've seen a lot of investors that have invested and they made their investment back or even more just by using Fanbase.
Yeah, just by using Fanbase, absolutely. Deezer, does your mic work yet? I don't think you got to go to your settings in your I don't know what phone you're on, if you're on iPhone or Android, but dang, we'll try this again maybe next time. I know we're getting close to the end of time. You see any other questions in the chat, Rama?
Let me see. I'm looking. There's a lot of conversations going on. I see some comments. One of the things that I love seeing is I'm seeing a lot of, we have amazing users. I call them super users that really help welcome and keep this community healthy. And I've seen a lot of people saying, hey, if you want to know anything about Fanbase, please follow how to Fanbase or join this audio room. And I love seeing that. So if you ever have questions about the app or Fanbase, there's a lot of users out there that have been around that will gladly help you out. From our standpoint, every Tuesday we'll be here at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, the marketing team joins, so you can always join those audio rooms and talk to them. Every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm giving a tech talk as well. So if you love technology, you want to hear about the product and the development work that we're doing, come and join me on Thursday. And as I mentioned, starting next week on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to have a content creation audio room. And again, the idea is to give you guys the chance to ask questions, challenge us. We love challenges, and get to talk to all of us. There's not many places out there that you can find, the CTO, CEO, and everyone in a team available to talk and answer any questions every week. So take advantage of that for sure.
Yeah, because the good thing is that I love that I can participate kind of on this intimate level, but eventually, our hope is that these rooms are too big, that we can have these intimate conversations, because there's so many people that are using, Fanbase in different ways, but audio is going to see a significant, I think, change this year as well with some of the things that we're doing, some of the functionality. But I mean, that's it for anybody that, like I said, and people also ask this question: how long do I have to invest? And I think you answered this before, Ramiro. But typically, the raise closes when we reach our goal. We could decide to close the raise before we raise 17 million. I'm not saying that we'll do that, but I think also the raise tends to go viral from time to time in peaks, and also a big difference between Reg CF and Reg A is there's no limit on the amount that a user can invest. So if someone wants to put the entire remainder of the raise invest into the platform, which I think would be awesome, like, again, like $16 million, they want to invest $16 million into Fanbase, and that can be an accredited investor or a non-accredited investor. They can go ahead and invest that as well. So, and then the raise will be closed, and you'll be like, well, what happened? I'm like, well, somebody wanted to come on in big time, and they did that. So I always tell people not to wait so long. Definitely do your due diligence. Look at kind of what we're doing. One of the things that I will say is that the attention to detail with our finances and the way that we run our business are quite impressive, to the point that we got a non-review by the SEC and a non-objection by FINRA, which allowed us to actually launch this raise in about the same amount of time that we would launch a Reg CF raise, which is unheard of. It typically takes about twice as long to launch those raises, but that speaks to the due diligence and the organization from Ramiro and Sil to have us ready for what we were able to do with Reg A. So that's another kind of, like, I think something that needs to be highlighted, that there's a lot more that goes into building apps and scaling them and running companies than just code and functionality. There's a responsibility and a methodology and an instinct and a creation of culture and processes that Ramiro is very, very good at, which is why him in the role of CTO and COO works so very well for the company, because I'm the big idea guy, but Ramiro handles the minutia and makes sure that everything is done the way it needs to be. And so it's an ultimate team effort for what we have going on here. So you can be part of this too. Just go to startengine.com/fanbase if you want to invest. And always, shoot questions, when we have these rooms, or you see somebody that maybe want to shoot a question to us, you can always do that as well. We'll get back to you.
Definitely. All right. So with that said, I want to say thank you so much for everyone, to the users, existing investors, future investors. We're super excited where we're heading, and we hope you join the journey if you're not already part of it. And we'll be talking again next Tuesday. But again, you can catch us in any of the audio rooms throughout the week. So have an amazing rest of the day, the week, and we'll be talking next week.
Yes, indeed.
Take care.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.